no table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, natural sweeteners, honey syrups, etc. No honey? Why not? What do the bees have to do with this, CrossFit? Leave them alone. They're cute and fuzzy. All right? Unless you are allergic, then they are death traps. But that's besides the point. Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that I actually haven't talked about in quite a while, and one that I'm actually very interested to kind of speak on, and because I think it's interesting, kind of share some of my previous history, my past, with my current thoughts. So today, we are going to be talking about CrossFit, a post that they made recently, and kind of just overall the general views they have on nutrition and the views that they have, what CrossFit LLC, right, the company CrossFit has, versus what people that actually do CrossFit actually eat, right? And more, and there'll be other stuff as well. The reason that this even got brought to my attention was because CrossFit made a post, and a lot of people sent that post to me, and they said, bro, you need to read this. So we're going to read that post, we're going to go over it, and then I'm going to share my thoughts, all right? So without further ado, let's get into it. So this is the post right here, and so this whole, like the actual post, not the caption, the actual post, this has been a thing that CrossFit has posted many, many times. This is what they call fitness in 100 words. If you go to a lot of different CrossFit gyms, you will notice that you'll see a poster that has this up. They talk about it at the L1, which is how people get certified to coach CrossFit. This is very much so a very, very integral part of the DNA of CrossFit, okay? That's the only way that I can really explain it. It is not, I'm not saying everyone believes it, because we'll get into that. But as far as CrossFit LLC, the company CrossFit, this is a very, 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 very integral part of their DNA. And I mean that, all right? So let's read what this post says, because I can actually read now. I'm figuring it out. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. All right? Some fruit and no sugar. Some fruit and no sugar. I wonder what's inside fruit. I wish someone could enlighten me on that. Keep intake to levels that will support exercise, but not body fat. Oh, okay. Not body fat. So you shouldn't have any body fat to do CrossFit. Great. Yeah, that seems awesome. Practice and train major lifts, deadlift, clean, squat, presses, C and J means clean and jerk, and snatch. Similarly, master the basics of gymnastics, pull-ups, dips, rope climb, push-ups, sit-ups, presses to handstand, pirouettes, flips, splits, holds, bike, run, swim, row, etc. Hard and fast. None of this stuff is necessarily bad, right? As far as the when it comes to working out and doing things, it's good, right? This is basically explaining functional fitness, which is a kind of a term that has been like bastardized, and it's almost a joke now. But when this was first made, this was kind of new, right? 5 or 6 days per week, mix these elements in as many combinations and patterns as creativity will allow. So this kind of explains, right, the whole WOD. If you don't know what WOD means, if you have friends that maybe post on their social media, I'm doing CrossFit, today's WOD was hard. You're like, what are you talking about? WOD? What that means is workout of the day, right? And so one of the biggest parts of CrossFit is that every workout is different. You're never doing the same exact thing, right? So it's about being constantly varied. Everything is changing. Everything is different. Again, I'm a fan. I don't have anything wrong with CrossFit. I'm not a CrossFit hater. I did CrossFit for many, many years. I still do it occasionally, right? So I don't have any issues with CrossFit as far as the training methodology. I mean, I have some issues, but like, I'm not like sitting here being like anything CrossFit is stupid. I don't believe that. But I will say their nutrition advice is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But we'll keep going. All right. So, as creativity will allow, routine is the enemy. Keep workouts short and intense. Regularly learn and play new sports. And it says fitness in 100 words. I don't think that routine is the enemy. I don't believe that. Routine is actually a very big part of my life. If I didn't have routine, I feel like I would self-combust. But that's besides the point, okay? So let's go on to read what the caption says as well, all right? So before we get into it, though, I want to explain CrossFit has always been very into paleo style of eating, right? So if you're not familiar with paleo, it still kind of is around, but when CrossFit was really big, when they were really blowing up, like the first time, it was pretty popular. And that was like eating like our ancestors. Don't eat any processed foods. Don't, if it's not grown out of the ground and you can't kill it yourself, you shouldn't be eating it, right? That's paleo, right? Eat what cavemans eat. That's that's the easiest way to explain it. That's what paleo is. And CrossFit was really, really in bed almost, it felt like, with paleo, and they were like, this is the way to eat. And then they got really into zone, which is paleo, but just with more steps, basically. And they really promoted that for a while. And now have always been very anti-sugar. They went on crusades against Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and they're like, sugar is bad. You shouldn't be eating too much sugar, right? And so that's kind of where they are coming from, right? Okay. So let's read this caption. Alrighty. CrossFit recommends eating meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. We call this eating for wellness because it sends health and performance markers in the right direction. Again, with this stuff, the no sugar is an issue, okay? Obviously, because fruit has sugar in it, and I think they might bring that up. But fruit has sugar in it. Sugar is not an enemy. It isn't, right? It isn't. The added sugar, the crap that people eat consistently, right? If you're going to McDonald's often and getting a large soda, or you're eating Snickers bars, consistently throughout the day, yeah, that's going to be a problem, right? Because the amount of calories in those things are going to be way higher than the amount that you need. You are going to put on body fat, all that stuff, right? But just having sugar not even every once in a while, having sugar every day is not the end of the world. It really, really isn't. And then on top of it, if you are one of the biggest issues, I'm sorry, I am going on such a tangent right now. I can't help myself. But one of the biggest issues is that CrossFit is very, very, very intense, right? The workouts are hard as hell a lot of times, and they require you to be fueled correctly. And so if you eat this way, you will probably notice that your energy levels are waning. You're not feeling well in your workouts because the amount of actual food you would need to eat to feel full by just eating this stuff is a lot, and you're not going to want to eat that much when you have to do this hard workout. So a lot of times people are eating too little. It's just not good, right? Okay, sorry. Okay. A common source of confusion in our nutrition recommendation is the no sugar component. People often point out that there is sugar in fruit. There is, yes. Tubers or even vegetables. This is true. But when we say no sugar, we mean no added sugar. When we say no sugar, we mean no added sugar. What could you have done differently to make it easier to see a difference between those two things? Maybe added a singular word to this. You could have added right here. And then there you go. Again, I'm not saying that I like it completely, but that if it clears up confusion, why would you not do it? Just make it 101 words then. It's okay. Everyone will understand. All right? Okay. This is true, but when we say no sugar, we mean no added sugar, as in no table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, natural sweeteners, honey syrups, etc. No honey? Why not? What do the bees have to do with this, CrossFit? Leave them alone. They're cute and fuzzy. All right? Unless you are allergic, then they are death traps. But that's besides the point. All right? Honey is not, there's nothing wrong with honey, okay? This is the issue. A lot of it is very much so war on sugar for whatever reason, which is funny, all things considered, which we'll get into in a little bit. Don't you worry. All right. We also recommend avoiding sugar substitutes, including natural or synthetic sweeteners such as stevia extracts, aspartame, or aspartame, whatever you want to call it, etc. Man, bruh, all right. I have an affinity towards artificial sweeteners, and people always get on my butt for it. I like diet sodas. I like putting Splenda in my coffee and my oatmeal. I feel fine. And I think that if it helps you not use as much sugar, not because sugar is the enemy, but it adds a lot of calories, that if you can just use something that is 0 calories that will have the same effect. You know, for some people it doesn't work. They're like, I hate how any artificial sweetener tastes, whether it's stevia, Splenda, Sweet and Low, all of them taste like crap to me. If that's you, honestly, I'm sorry. But if you can do it, I have no issue with it. But again, you know, that's just my opinion. But I think that demonizing these certain things is silly, right? All right. So, or synthetic sweeteners such as stevia, aspartame, etc. through research. Though research on 0 calorie sweeteners is as yet inconclusive, potential risks involve increased cravings for sweet foods and gut issues. The occasional food guru, I love this. The occasional food guru will counter these claims with claims of their own, stating sweeteners are a perfectly safe alternative to sugar. There is the nature of nutrition science. The field is riddled with inconclusive and ideological claims. This is not just an issue with nutrition. This is the issue with science. Not because it's not even an issue. It's that we're always learning more stuff. We are always testing the things that we thought were true and maybe finding out maybe it's true, but maybe there's an and to it, right? True and. Maybe we can add stuff to it. So it's like, yes, that's why I always say, when people bring up studies, which I think is good to understand them, you can almost always find another study that will say this study is wrong. You can almost always find a study to bolster the beliefs that you have, to make you feel good because there is a study that says that this thing is the truth, right? That's just the nature of the beast, right? In my opinion. Think about it as a knowledge hierarchy. We are not sure of the actual implications of using sweeteners. We do know processed carbs can lead to a host of health issues, and we know the safest way to eat carbs is in their whole natural state. What does safest mean, right? The issue here is that it's gone from like, science is super important and we need to understand, to then being like, we know for a fact that carbs are bad. Like, it's just frustrating. It's like, well, you have to really focus on the science. But then they make a claim where it's like, but we know carbs are the enemy and they're evil and bad unless you eat raw oatmeal. Don't even cook it because that's bad for you. You just need to swallow it dry. This is why CrossFit recommends eating vegetables, fruit, and some starch while avoiding added sugar. Natural sugars in fruit, sweet potatoes, or Brussels sprouts are lower impact because there's a lot less sugar in these whole foods. The fiber in these foods also promotes satiety and slows the amount of sugar released into the bloodstream. When carbs are processed, such as high fructose corn syrup or even fruit juices, the fiber is removed or pulverized, reducing its effect. Eating whole natural carbs will help you feel satiety quicker, and the fiber will prevent spikes in glucose. All right, so that's where it comes. I knew it was coming, right? Glucose. The spikes in the glucose. Everyone, the spikes in the glucose, all right? You better watch out. If there's a spike in the glucose, if you don't have a reason to be worried about your glucose spiking, you should not be worried about it. It is like being worried about something that is a natural. It's like drinking an energy drink, right? And then being like, I have more energy. What is happening? It's like, yeah, but that's what happens. That's normal. It will go down and you'll be fine. And it is what it is. Like, it's just being worried about something that you don't need to be, unless you need to be worried about it, right? Unless you need to be worried about your, heart for some reason has a condition where it shouldn't be raised like that, then yeah, that's a problem. But if it doesn't, then you should be like, yeah, it's normal. It's what is expected, right? If your glucose rises after eating carbs, that's normal. That's what your body is working correctly, right? Okay. There is always an opportunity to explore different macro ratios when optimizing performance. When finding a baseline, we are less concerned with how much you eat and more concerned with what kind of food you're eating. So again, what is very, very funny is that in this, it says not enough to, but not body fat, right? Keep intake to levels that will support exercise, but not body fat. But then here it says, when finding a baseline, we are less concerned about how much you eat and more concerned with what kind of food you are eating. Again, keep intake to levels that will support exercise, but not body fat. You are literally saying the two opposite things. So what's more important? How much body fat you have or the types of food you are eating? Because I promise you, you can be eating clean, whole foods and still be gaining weight. Like it is not that difficult. How do I know? Because I know many people that have thought, I'm eating clean and I'm not losing weight. Why? Well, are you eating trail mix? Are you eating a bunch of nut butters? Are you putting a ton of oil on your food? Like all of these things, they're totally natural, but they have a ton of calories, and that's not going to help you lose weight if that's something that you want to do, right? But then it says how much you are eating. Eating for wellness means focusing less on quantity and more on quality. And then the comments have been pretty funny. Like, y'all can pry my pre-workout Sour Patch Kids from my cold, dead, chalk-dusted hands. I love CrossFit. I live doing it. I love watching it. I wish they'd leave nutrition alone because it's misguided. You can eat sugar, folks. You just know, moderation. Completely agree with most of this, but your main sponsors, Monster energy drinks. And you'd think to yourself, whoa. What do you mean? No way. No way this company that is so against sugar would be sponsored by an energy drink company, right? Well, you'd be wrong. All right? Monster Energy and the Noble CrossFit Games 2022, baby. Formulated for those who crave flavor without the sacrifice. I wonder what this is sweetened with. Wonder. Interesting. Without the zero sugar, Monster Energy Ultra and Monster Hydro have the flavors for any WOD you're up to conquer. Wow, that's great. Monster. That's awesome. Oh yeah. That doesn't have any sort of, not natural ingredients, right? There's no way, right? No way. By the way, I wonder who owns Monster. Who do you guys think owns Monster? Oh, whoopsies. The Coca-Cola Company. Don't they make Coca-Cola the drink with a lot of sugar in it? Interesting. That's so weird that this company would be sponsored by the Coca-Cola Company. Again, I want to make it very clear, right? I do not have an issue with being sponsored by Monster. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. People say, oh, it's unhealthy, whatever, right? I don't think there's that makes CrossFit bad. What makes them look silly, definitely, is to post this right before the CrossFit Games, as I'm recording this, are about to start, right? So to post this right as the games are about to start, and one of the main sponsors, definitely last year, I think this year too, but definitely last year, there were Monster all over the CrossFit Games, right? It is just hilarious to see them post this, which one, I think has so much bad information in and of itself I would have had a problem with, right? But then on top of that, the games, which is the biggest moneymaker for CrossFit, right? It's the thing that makes people know about CrossFit. It's how so many people are like, oh yeah, I saw the games on TV and I was curious about what it was. The thing that gets them so many people is sponsored by Monster. And I think something that's important that people that are not in CrossFit maybe don't realize, there is a difference between CrossFit and the CrossFit Games. They're almost like two entirely different entities. But the fact of the matter is there's still the hierarchy of it's still under the umbrella, right? So they might not be the same, part of the umbrella, but they're still under the same umbrella. So to make this post and then have the CrossFit Games about to start where a bunch of the athletes are, last year, I saw this happen. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but last year they would have cans of Monster. And it looked like the athletes were drinking Monster in between after workouts, when in reality it was actually water that just was branded as Monster. But guess what? Who knows that? Most people don't. So they're like, oh, they're drinking Monster after the workouts. Interesting. Maybe I should try that, right? It's just silly, right? At the end of the day, is this the end of the world? No. Do I think that CrossFit should be canceled? No. Do I think it's really funny? Absolutely. Do I think it's funny to make a video about it? 100%. like, I'm sorry, but it's funny. But that's pretty much all I have to say. It's, again, there's no gotcha moment. There's nothing super crazy out of all this. I just think it's funny. So I would love to know what y'all think. If you're someone that does CrossFit, I'm assuming most of you probably just do not care. Totally understandable. But I would love to know what you think down in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, thumbs up always helps. And if you do enjoy watching the streams, I would love to, have you come by a actual stream when it's live. I stream every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Alrighty, but without that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you next time. Peace.